Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a very active pattern first of all. And with that pattern, there will be several large storm systems. I don't know if I'll be focusing on just one, if I'll call it just one giant system, because there's certain models that show this, these many storm systems just kind of forming a conglomerate of heavy rain and heavy precipitation. And there are other models that show individual ones just kind of racing across very similar locations with a very short amount of time period in between them. So yeah, very active. I will be also going over the impacts that are left behind by Tropical Storm Henry and kind of what's to expect of that system. Yeah, definitely a pack the punch across the Northeast. And I will be, if I have any time, I'll focus on potentially the temperatures and whatever else I could squeeze in. All right, so if you guys are watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, consider doing that. Obviously, don't subscribe just because I told you so. Check out the video, watch the channel, subscribe only if you enjoy it, obviously. And but it does really help out a lot if you do enjoy it. Subscribing is a ton helpful. Same thing with liking the video, obviously. And if you have any comments or concerns, leave them down below. I try getting to as many as possible. Okay, so first off, let's take a look at the radar. First thing we see is a lot of activity, obviously, across the Northeast. We have a lot of rain that isn't really associated with Henri, right? Hurricane Henri. Some people pronounce it Henry. I'm pretty sure it's Henri. Whatever, you get the message. It's the only one that's affecting the U.S. right now. A lot of this is just stalled out cold fronts, outflow boundaries. A lot of the moisture is, again, brought by kind of Henri into this area. But notice a lot of, again, showers, storms. If you get under one of these, they may not seem big from far out, but I guarantee you, if you're, say, in Augusta, you're probably getting a downpour right there at around 440. There was a bit of rain. It did intensify as it passed. Right there, Milledgeville, about to get some very heavy rainfall. Not severe, really. Most of these are not warned whatsoever in terms of severe weather. There definitely are a few, I would imagine. Well, actually, not a single one is warned. There are some, however, tornado warnings. I see right there in the hurricane, or what's left of Hurricane Henri, now really Tropical Storm Henri. But yeah, definitely a lot of rain for the southeast where they do get under that shower threat. Notice, I didn't want to say, I do forecast for Canada as well. There is a severe thunderstorm watch for some thunderstorms. Again, it seems to have been kind of diminished. Really, it was probably for a bit earlier on in the day. Again, to do with the moisture and flow of Henri. Notice how big that is, how big the impact of that is. I want to see when this is going to get canceled. I'm assuming probably in the near future or relatively soon. Where does it show? Okay, so again, this is Environmental Canada, so not the National Weather Service, like from the United States, since it's a different country. But again, I focus on Canada as well because, well, it's right there, so why not just look at it as well? And a lot of people live there, so makes sense. Well, I can't seem to find where they from when it is issued, like what's the time period, but I'm assuming it's really mainly for what has already happened. You could see there were some nasty storms. There may be still a few additional ones, but notice obviously the eye of the attention is all across the Northeast. Look, we do have some tornado warnings. Yes, it does look pretty inconspicuous. These cells, they don't even look that organized, right? But again, that doesn't mean a tornado can happen, especially with these tropical storms. There's a lot of potential with these to spin up tornadoes, and that's often not really thought of as a threat. Usually it's a storm surge, the wind, the rainfall, right? But tornadoes are still a thing in hurricanes. They do occur, and sometimes they occur at great amounts. So yeah, definitely notice there's a tornado warning. I'm pretty sure that's probably a spotter or radar indicated. Yep, radar indicated, so that means it's not confirmed, but definitely possible. So obviously, if you are under a tornado warning, you can see it's a relatively small area, but if you are on it, don't try taking a video of it unless you're confident that it's not going your way. But honestly, just go indoors and seek shelter. I don't want to be spreading any sort of misinformation about what to do during a tornado. Notice that across New York, right, in Long Island, it is still raining. Northern New Jersey has been just getting slammed, and I think they have honestly gotten the worst of it in terms of the rainfall. But don't worry, again, I'm not just focusing New Jersey. A lot of Connecticut, Southern New York, and Long Island have seen a lot of this rain. And the bad news is that if you're flooding right now, there still will be a bit of this rain. Yes, it won't be a hurricane. It probably won't even be a tropical storm by the time really evening hits today. But it will have a lot of rain and a lot of power to drop a lot of precipitation. Now, I do want to mention, if you recall, I was talking about those large storms at the beginning. This is one of many, and I've been talking about it for past several videos. Really not yesterday, but the day before. Notice, it's massive. It's also large circulation. It's kind of like a land hurricane, right? That's what you could think of as a kind of a storm on land. Obviously, not as strong winds, but very, very, very significant rain. It's all into Manitoba, Saskatchewan, except the radar cuts off kind of at southern Canada. But notice, a lot of needed rainfall. Thankfully, it's not too heavy, and there isn't many thunderstorms. It's a nice moderate to light rainfall occurring, so it's definitely good. They needed that. It's been very dry, and notice that we do have a line of storms across North Dakota that is kind of acting as a cold front of that system. Here's kind of the secondary, maybe the first cold front wave, if you will, but it's all part of a large, singular cold front, just a bit, again, widespread. Notice the first one has some storms and more rain. The second one, it does look to have some more severe type storms. Again, there could be some large hail, damaging winds, maybe even a tornado. Notice this one's a bit more organized as it tracks through North Dakota. Again, dropping a lot of needed rain, just maybe too much at this point. And you wouldn't want to get slammed by severe weather at the cost of just a little bit of rain. You'd rather see something like this, a nice light to moderate rain that could percolate through the soil. But yeah, you could see definitely the fine circulation around that low pressure as it moves. And yeah, right there, boom, it would be sitting right there. A nice inflow boundary. The outflow is way out here. It's a large system, and it's contributing to even some cells starting to erupt across Kansas and Nebraska, which, again, some of those are severe, and there are some severe thunderstorm watches issued. Notice those right there, again, mainly a damaging wind and large hail. I wouldn't say tornadoes are likely. Yeah, you could see quarter-size hail, relatively strong winds. Right there is another one in North Dakota. Again, ping pong ball sized hail. That's massive. Yeah, if you were to get hit on the head, you would probably get a pretty bad headache, maybe even concussed, to be honest, which isn't something we should laugh about. But yeah, that's large. Notice $half sized hail again. It's always in this part of the country where the hail is kind of the biggest threat. So the winds could be, but often they really just spawn here and then they move to create a wind event. So more often than not, they again, more of a hail threat, and then later on in the storm's life cycle, they could become more of a wind threat. There's a wind threat. It's not massive. It's more of that quarter-sized hail that's a bit of a concern. Further down here, I'd assume it's very similar with ping pong ball sized hail. The wind isn't even a threat according to this. So that is something that you definitely don't want to get caught on. But if you do, go indoors. Don't try saving your car by doing jumping jacks on it, or not jumping jacks. But I remember seeing a video of someone trying to save their car from hail, and he was just like sitting, his belly was on the top of it, and he was just like swiping his arms left and right, trying to get the hail out from not hitting his car. But obviously it was useless, and he just got wet and pelted with a bunch of hails. So not good. All right, let's take a look at these storms. I know I've been kind of pushing it off, but I did want to focus on what's going on right now. I do apologize, but it might be a bit longer of this video than I thought. Probably another 10 minutes. All right, if you're to take a look at this, notice we do have that first system, right? Pretty large, intense, and I do want to focus now across that storm system. So I will start ignoring Henri. But before we do that, actually, I want to show you that for the next 18 hours, because remember what I said, there's still a flooding rain threat. Not necessarily because it's strong, but again, it's going to meander there for a while. Just kind of go back and forth. And it only starts moving out by Tuesday, early in the morning. And it's finally offshore by Tuesday, mid-afternoon. So not even tomorrow. So again, a bit more of rain is on its way, to say the least. But look what happens across North Dakota. That low pressure today pulls away into Canada. We see another one. Large storms. Again, probably hail. Maybe some damaging wind, especially as it gets into Iowa, Wisconsin, potentially Illinois. Some more rainfall. That's probably a good thing for areas that are dry, but at this point, again, you don't want that hail. And also, if you have already seen a lot of rain, you don't want to cause a giant flooding, which some of these may. Notice, though, clusters refiring every time at around 3 or 4 per day, every single day of the week, during the daytime heating, definitely the largest threat, and you can see it's always during the 18Z kind of time frame. So this is Tuesday, this is now into Wednesday, and notice that during Wednesday, it does quiet down across the northern plains. It is a bit active across southeastern Canada. We do have more storms, unfortunately, though, that fire up extremely late Wednesday into early Thursday. These kind of go through the overnight. They don't really play by the rules. Notice into southern Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, a lot of storms, showers over very similar areas, which is why it's a concern. Flooding, and yeah, really, that's the biggest concern, flooding, with all these storms compiled on top of each other. And as soon as it may seem that the Dakotas catch a break from this, they don't really. Notice that pushes off into Saturday, these conglomerates of rain and precipitation, and we see more across Dakota spawning, and these will continue pretty much day to day. And the European is one of those models that keeps these storms separate, kind of a day-to-day threat, but it's distinctly a separate. Notice this is directed by that low pressure. This first one was again followed by that one we have going on right now. So three, you could call this almost four systems, and look what it does with that final system. Develops a giant cold front, low pressure on Quebec, and lots of chill air potentially behind us, according to some models. But even behind this, more rain across Nebraska and potentially more diving in here. So yeah, it's active, and I do want to point out there could be some sort of a tropical storm occurring, tropical system across the Gulf Coast, which we'll have to watch at around this time frame, which really isn't that far out. All right, European model, how much rain you could expect? Quite a bit, especially across, look at that, Minnesota, 3, 4, 5 inches, they'll take that, I know they will. They are very dry. South Dakota, decent rain. North Dakota, decent rain. Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, UP, Michigan, and of course the Northeast with Henri and potentially a few more disturbances following that. Could get another 4 or 5 inches, which they have already seen a ton of rain. And I do want to show, look at that right there, by the way. Yeah, that's something concerning if that tropical storm were to occur. Obviously, it's concerning if it hits Mexico. It's concerning if it's the U.S., regardless of where it hits. That's a ton of rain. And, if it goes towards Houston, maybe a larger area population, maybe San Antonio. So, again, if it does occur, hopefully it's where less people live. But yeah, definitely something to watch for, this area of precip. And this may act as just kind of like a propeller for more moisture even beyond this to start occurring. And some models do show that, even if the actual tropical storm misses itself. All right, I want to show you something quickly before we move on to other models. Actually, yeah, I want to show you something. So the thing I wanted to show you was this really cool graph. I already showed you this before. It basically measures the past 72 hours of rainfall across the United States. And you could divide it into the last 12, 24. But look, there's a lot of rain, obviously. You could see Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, decent amounts of rain, right? And obviously there are some areas that don't. But what I want to point out, first of all, a couple days ago, this happened across Tennessee. Look at these amounts. I haven't seen this in a very long time, probably since maybe the early spring, where there was one area in Missouri that got 11 inches. But look, 18 inches that, up according to the radar, fell across Tennessee. That is a ridiculous amount of rain, and I know that definitely did cause some flooding. And it's actually odd because I remember the day before this occurred, I was talking about this in my video, and the models were showing it pretty spot on, which I remember the day afterwards, I logged on this map and saw that. I'm like, holy cow, the models were accurate, which, I mean, it's a good thing, but I was still a bit surprised. Obviously, the Northeast, tons of rain. Notice, coastal areas in New Jersey, potentially the double digits, right? Obviously not everyone, those are the extremes. Usually it ranged from around 2 to 5, maybe 6 inches. Notice downtown New York did get almost towards that 6-inch range in some areas. It crossed that. I think the official measurement was 5 inches in Central Park, which is the biggest 2-day total since Hurricane Irene in 2011. I think that's what I read. But again, that may still go up as that rain is not done. As you saw, some models show an additional 3 to 4. So you're not good. What's kind of better news and delightful to see, if you recall, these areas are in horrendous drought. In the last 72 hours, they've seen decent rain. Pierre, a large city in South Dakota, almost an inch of rain. Right there across northern North Dakota, almost 5, which is just a bit too much. But, anywhere in that yellow, that's above a half an inch, I'm pretty sure, which isn't a ton, but it's decent to say the least. And anywhere in that red, I think it's above 2 inches, which is a lot. And notice a lot of Minnesota got that, and again, more is on its way. So again, if you're dealing with flooded terrain, flooded areas, flooded basements, get ready for more rain. And even if none doesn't come your way, it's better to be ready for it, right? Look at that area across Colorado, 9, almost 10 inches, according to this radar, which is definitely impressive. North Platte received, 2 inches. That's for sure impressive. And notice that areas across Idaho, Montana, Wyoming also have saw have seen a decent rain. You know, not enough to quench any drought, but enough to keep it from going worse in the next week. But definitely, if you don't see continued rainfall here, it will continue to get worse. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Let's go back to the models. So I'm going to show you what the Europeans showed, and I'll take this kind of more slowly. Here's a timeline, 1 p.m. August 22nd. And just for you folks that want to get this timed out more, I'll zoom in and just watch it, right? So again, today is August 22nd. Tomorrow is the 23rd. This is what it looks like. 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m. This is now at now during the midnight time of Monday into Tuesday. Notice we have showers across the plains. Hurricane Henri still, or Tropical Storm Henri still occurring across the northeast. And again, we have more rain moving into the plains. This is now through the day Tuesday and into the overnight Tuesday. Potentially Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan seeing quite a bit of rainfall. Now look at Florida, Georgia. Definitely quite a bit of rainfall from the tropics as well. Decent rain, and that's again all the way really starting today and the next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday time frame. Decent rains to say the least. Now, as we push this forward, notice into Wednesday and early Thursday during the overnight hours, we see more rain across the Midwest, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky. And I wish I could show you each one of these little bands and what they could do, but it's impossible to predict it. Again, just if you live across the Midwest, just get ready for some rain chances. Again, you could see the GFS predicts that early Thursday, favoring it across Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas. And then by Friday, very similar areas still getting impacted by that rain. Southern Canada getting quite a bit of rainfall. By Friday, it moves more into the northern areas, into the UP, Southern Canada, Thunder Bay. Saturday, again, across similar areas in Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin. It starts sagging to the south at this point, and notice that it's more of Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, seeing some of that rain. This is into the weekend again. On late Sunday, another batch of very heavy rain potentially for Minnesota, Wisconsin. And we have that tropical system, which, if you recall, the European also showed. That's some remarkable agreement among the models. And look, it shoots all that moisture into the southwest of the United States, New Mexico, Texas. So that's definitely good for that drought relief. And by the way, that cold front by Tuesday and Wednesday seeps into the northeast. At this point, it's kind of useless to try to time it out, as many models disagree here. But you can see this is now September 2nd. This is what September 1st looks like. Yeah, definitely a lot of areas seeing quite a bit of rain. And yeah, just you could see just cold front after system after system, potentially another tropical disturbance hitting the southeast. So a lot of activity, and obviously if I were to put the total accumulated precip, you would see a lot of it across Minnesota. This model is favoring almost 6 to 7, 8 inches of rain. The southeast, similar story, very good amounts of rain. The northeast staying rather wet. The south, kind of the central U.S., the northern U.S., southwestern U.S., good amounts of rain across a good portion of the United States. It's nice to see, and it's not just one area seeing a ton of rain. While there could be definitely a few of those, it's a decent area. The only states missing out are the West Coast and the Northwest, which is unfortunate. They need it a lot, but at least a good portion of the U.S. is getting in on this. And again, there are some differences. Notice this model shows Oklahoma getting nothing, right? And then 6 hours ago, or let's see up to the updated one, it already shows a bit more, and this doesn't even go out as far, right? Let's go to 6 hours ago. It showed more across Oklahoma. So again, there are some differences, and we'll just have to wait and see how those pan out. But again, expect a stormy pattern. Let's take a glance at the Canadian model. And I want to show you that the Canadian is one of those that, again, keeps these storms separate, right? So here's our first one into today and tomorrow. Here's our second one into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then there's a little bit of a break. But by Thursday, we have another system that's a bit slower. And it finally develops that cold front by the time the weekend comes, and develops into a very strong system according to the Canadian. Again, it also agrees with the rest of the models about a tropical disturbance storm of very, very large size and magnitude hitting the south, really Mexico and potentially, Texas area. So obviously with this model, really quite a bit of rain as well. I don't like this model as much for the rainfall forecast, but it does agree with the other models that where it shows the rain, it's where the heaviest rain it falls according to the other models. You can see it kind of misses out the Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas areas. Again, I think it will be a bit wetter than what this model shows, but it does show, the correct areas, the southeast, potentially Florida, Texas, Mexico seeing the most, and the upper plains, the northern plains. And I want to quickly go back to the GFS, the one I showed you after the European, because this is the one model that keeps these systems more combined. And if we were to go back to the model one that's fully progressed, right, here's our second one. You can see it's a bit more disorganized. Here's our third one. It's really combined with that first one, and it's just more of a continuous flow of moisture. It's not really kind of storm systems with circulation. So that's kind of the difference that I meant by it. Notice just kind of continuous storm systems until that cold front finally sweeps through and takes everything away. So those are the differences between those models. So overall, just to summarize this, it's going to be a chaotic pattern. I mean, that's the best way to put it. You could see that the GFS just advertises for many areas of precipitation. Impossible for me to go over each individual one. Notice, I mean, look at this even given day, September 2nd. I mean, tons of rain across the northern plains, the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, right there across the plains into Texas, New Mexico. And then as we push this forward, you could see a system starts impacting Florida, more rain across Wyoming, North Dakota, Minnesota, again, and then that slides down. Just a ton of activity, very chaotic, but we'll just have to wait and see how this all unfolds. I do want to say there could be some decent moisture working its way into Southern California towards the end of this, so that could definitely provide some relief for those folks. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next episode. That's it for now. See ya.